Alright, it's March 10th, 2022. Tomorrow I'm probably going to go on a long fast to memorialize both the anniversary of Fukushima and the anniversary of COVID-19 being declared a pandemic. But right now on the news, we're eyeing the possibility of freezing Russia's gold reserves, right? So over the last 10 years, Russia has built this huge war chest of gold, I think about 2,000 metric tons, and now we're worried that as we sanction them from using their other reserves, they're going to make use of that for the war efforts. I'm really excited about the potential freezing, because I don't think they're going to freeze Russia from selling gold. I think what's much more likely to happen is they're going to manipulate prices downward, and that really makes me smile. And I learned this. I like well, I don't like Russia, but I like how they've been holding on to this war chest over the last few years. It kind of reminds me of a situation when I was much younger. I was going to college, and my family had disapprovals of me dating somebody, and so they would give me money for other things, right? For lunch, for various events. But I would secretly squirrel away some of it and then continue to date this girl, right? My family used to be very biased about me marrying another Asian girl, and my family didn't want to ruin the family tree, if you will. A little bit of racism. And also, you got to remember, at the time, well, the last Cold War was still fresh in their mind, right? And they didn't want to deal with girls from this region. And kind of interesting, because fast forward 15 years later, now this country is being known for humanitarian efforts for what's going on with the current invasion, right? But at the time, very different sentiment. And so I would squirrel away some money. It didn't put it into gold, obviously, but I would squirrel away some of the money so that I could secretly go on dates with this girl, right? But my family thought they were giving me money for various things. It was around the time that I kind of learned to economize things, right? They would give me money for lunch, but instead of eating in the cafeteria, I would buy really cheap stuff, right? I would go to the grocery store and buy overripened bananas. I remember them being 15, 20 cents a pound at the time. Nowadays, even the overripened ones are like 50 cents a pound, right? Talk about how much we've manipulated inflation rates, right? And it gave me the concept that there's a big difference between assets that somebody can sanction how you spend them versus assets that you can freely spend without any supervision. So I understood that concept when I was 17, 18 years old. And fast forward almost 2 decades later, my family doesn't have this racism anymore, but they're very against the idea that I'm happily solo sexual, right? Thank God I don't have to answer to that with my family anymore, right? And I don't understand why, right? Why does one person's relationship status or sexuality or their eating habits or their way of recreation, why does that bother you, right? I mean, if you don't like to do what I do, great. I mean, I hate having. Imagine you go to your favorite vacation destination, right? And there's nobody there to bother you, right? And you have that whole place to yourself. Can you imagine if you could go to Gdansk Bay, Poland, and have that island all to yourself, right? That would be paradise for me, right? So why does it bother you that I don't like your vacation destination? Making it less crowded for you, right? Giving you some room to social distance. Now, people ask me, why does it bother me that other people judged it? Well, it doesn't. The problem is that it kind of affects my livelihood when people make that my identity, right? Anyway, getting a little bit off subject here. So the main takeaway lesson from this Russia situation is that there's a big difference between assets that somebody can watch how you spend them and assets that you can freely use on your own without any controls, right?